What's up, guys? Welcome to Roensch Capital Charts. Today we're taking a look at Tesla stock, ticker symbol TSLA, on a variety of time frames in anticipation of the next trading day, Thursday, May 30th. All right, guys, Tesla stock here today down 56 cents per share. It's minus 0.32% in regular trading hours. We are down a little bit here in the after hours. Listen, volume's very low, so take that with a grain of salt. Of course, the entire market's down. Part of what's going on here is we saw both UiPath and Salesforce come out with their own disappointing news. UiPath is switching CEOs. That tends to show insecurity in the current state of the company. That's down a lot after hours. I think like 30% last time I checked. And Salesforce, kind of a disappointing outlook. Okay, so either way, take it with a grain of salt. It's a market move going on after hours, not really anything specific here to Tesla. So look, let's take a look at Tesla heading into tomorrow and get the best feel that we can possibly pull from the market today about this name. We're going to take a look at the volume profile, the psychological self-fulfilling prophecy levels, implied volatility, the expected move for tomorrow, and the directional bias for tomorrow. All right, now let's get started here with that volume profile analysis just quickly here on the 5-minute chart. Listen, guys, by the way, if you are new here, first of all, welcome. Tesla is a daily upload, so I hope to see you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for doing so. My goal here is 10,000 subs, and we can do it, but not without your help. So I appreciate it, and I will keep the Tesla videos coming. Now, looking under the hood here, let's see if we can pull out any bias whatsoever. Now, off the open, guys, what we got, typically we see a high volume opening bar and then a quick fade off in volume. We actually got that second bar that popped hard. A lot of times this bar would be like way down here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and assign like 10% on a scale of 0 to 100. It's not ridiculous, right? 100% would be like 15 bars of that size into the day here on the 5-minute. We're just seeing 2, so it's a small amount of bullish bias off the open. And then volume kind of tanks off as it typically does. A couple of pops, a mixed bag, you know, here. Too much of a risk of randomness on a single bar, red bar as well, too much of a risk. And then as we head into the close, it kind of offsets each other. Okay, because we get a pop, and then we get those 5 red bars into the close, which, in my opinion, offset one another. So really all we're getting here is that, you know, small 10% bullish bias off the open here on Tesla's volume profile today. Now let's move on. Let's take a look at those self-fulfilling prophecy psychological levels, starting with the 30-minute chart. That white line is the 50 period, and the gray line is the 200 period. So you guys remember yesterday's video, if you watched, we rejected off that 50 period hard. Okay, that was a win for the bears here yesterday. Well, bulls, we got up through the 50 period. That's exactly what we wanted to see. We tested it, bounced. It wasn't on big volume, but at least we got the bounce, right? We tested the 200 period, faded hard, closing just above the 50 period. So look, tomorrow, this is anybody's ball game. Now, of course, we faded below in the after hours. I don't like to look at after hours movement when it's on low volume like it is today. So I'm more interested in where we ended up off the close or on the close. Tomorrow, really simple, bulls. I want to see us use that 50 period as an area of support, which means, of course, with the after hours movement, getting back above it, whether that's pre-market or intraday, getting back above the 50, holding it as support, and using that as kind of a trampoline to help push us up for a near-term test of the 200 period, so we can get back upside through both of these, which is the ultimate goal if you're a bull. Bears, really simple. Use that 50 period as hard of a resistance as you possibly can. The test, the volume, I don't mind if we open beneath the level. But the rejection, I want to see volume pour back in if I'm a bear. That big sample size coming in and saying, yes, we agree that we're going to reject here. Now, the 4-hour chart, let's take a look. You can see here, guys, that we tested the 50 period hard today on the 4-hour and faded off. So we now find ourselves approximately 0.95%, 0.9%-ish off of that 50 period. So it's actually a lot closer than it might look here. That's well within range for a single day's move on Tesla. We've seen crazier things. Bears, if we test the 50, you're going to want to see that reject so we can head down for a near-term test of the 200 period, which you can see here we haven't had in the last couple of weeks. Whereas bulls, the goal is to close above the 50. Ideally, it would look like this. High volume rip through the level, low volume back test for confirmation, volume pours in on a high volume bounce. That's a break, retest, and confirmation. Okay? Now, moving on here to the daily, arguably the most important chart of all. We're still quite a few percent, about 2.5% away from that 50-day moving average. Okay, so in this case, it's not quite as close as it may look. But again, we've seen crazier things. Obviously, bulls, we don't want to give up that 50-day moving average. But I think the more near-term story here is kind of this channel between like 170 slash the 50-day at 172, moving up to 180, with 175 being kind of like a checkpoint in the middle, a smaller psychological level. But the big psychological level, I think, just in the immediate vicinity of the stock, aside from the 50-day, is 180. So bulls, if we can get above 180 and hold that, that's a level we've struggled with in the recent past. So in my opinion, that would be a big single-day win for bulls. Now, implied volatility here, you can see we're just creeping up barely today. So now in comparison to the last week, we're, I would say, just barely a little bit high. Okay, it's not tremendous, but we're a little bit high. In comparison to the last month, we are just about in the mid-range, I would say. Okay, now in comparison to the last 3 months, we're more in like the mid to lower range. All right, obviously very important if you're trading options to keep track of where IV is when you're entering, exiting, and to plan ahead by comparing that to your intended trade time frame. Where is it currently compared to your intended trade time frame? All right, now the expected move here for tomorrow. We have weekly expirations on Tesla, so we do a little bit of educated guesswork when that's the case, right? Welcome to trading, right? We have the 31st of May, the expiration by that day, which is Friday's close. The expected move is plus or minus $5.35 a share. That's compared to today's close. So if we want to get tomorrow, Thursday, here's what we do on a Wednesday. Okay, and it changes day to day. We take 535 divided by 2 trading days left, Thursday and Friday, add back 50%. That gives us a plus or minus expected move for tomorrow of $4 and about 1 penny, so around plus or minus $4. But I like to shave a little off of that on Wednesday nights heading into Thursdays because we only have 2 factors left, which is Thursday and Friday. And that makes a lot of sense to add back 50% to make up for the volatility that's left out in the initial calculation. Early in the week, because there's more days left. But when we only have two trading days left, I like to shave a little off. So for me, I'm kind of looking at an expected move tomorrow of like, I think the market's expecting somewhere between like 3 and 350 a share, plus or minus. Okay, that's the market's just baseline 1 standard deviation volatility expectation. Obviously, you know, this isn't like, this is the market's expectation. So the accuracy of that is not guaranteed, but you wouldn't want it to be perfectly accurate because that never opens up an opportunity for you to make money. If you disagree with that, that's a good thing. That's a potential position you could take along with a directional bias. So speaking of directional bias, let's take a look at the volume. 1.3 million total contracts traded here today. Of those, 811,000 were calls, 499,000 were puts. Pretty heavy call side bias on the overall ratio here today. Break that down by time frame, right? The 0 to 20 delta range, the short-term speculators. 366,000 calls, 164,000 puts. Rather heavy call side bias out of the short-term speculators here on Tesla today as well. Listen, guys, if you want to get my personal scalp setup alerts every single day, in-play stock alerts, human-verified unusual options activity, that's how I keep track of what the whales are doing, or you want to become a Platinum one-on-one student, take a look at that link in the pinned comment. That'll let you get grandfathered in at the current rate. The price is going up soon. If you join now, you'll stay at that rate. And hey, if you appreciate the daily Tesla videos, please leave a like on the video and then get out of here and enjoy your day. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.